come today. Time has come today.
Hey everyone, it's Noah Mian on the Arc of Truth. It is currently the 3rd of September 2017. And unfortunately, it's gonna be that time of year where I'm maybe not gonna do as many videos as possible. Because of, well, I have college and stuff to do. I will try to do that from time to time, but I have to focus on my studies. And that'll begin on my birthday, the 25th. So, to continue on, I'm sorry that I haven't posted any videos for the last couple of days, for at least a week now. I have been still working on the deck. In fact, the old deck, the remains of it, I was just taking out the nails, and then Destin, my sister, and I decided to cut it up so that we can eventually use it as firewood. And my mom seemed to agree with that, so that's what we've been mainly doing it so far. And yeah, that has been taking up actually a lot of time. So I apologize for that. And now let's get into stuff that I've missed. In terms of Texas, with the whole Hurricane Harvey situation, it's actually going pretty well. In terms of how successful FEMA is in trying to distribute supplies and actually prepare for this disaster and prevents such a large amount of damage. Hell, I'm even glad that I think it was 2 days ago that the President of the United States announced that he was personally donating $1 million of his own money to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. And I like that. I said before in my previous video about Hurricane Harvey that I hope that Trump would do something like he did on the campaign trail with the flooding in Mississippi, I think it was. And he did it. It's an indirect way, but I think $1 million will definitely be a major boom for rescue services and other necessities to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. But with that being said, the media is obviously not liking this. It's ever since the coverage of Hurricane Harvey has happened, it's basically about how this might affect the President of the United States, and basically how he might respond to it. And every piece of every media outlet except for maybe Fox News and a few others have actually they were just disappointed that Trump apparently succeeded. In fact, they criticized him for lacking empathy, and I don't know, maybe they were comparing this to Katrina, and that he was a failure because he kept all the attention to himself. First of all, you media assholes, you put the attention on President Donald Trump. In fact, this was going to be another hurricane that happens. It's seasonal. It always happens, and there's nothing we can really do about it except to prepare for the worst. There's nothing else that can do it, that can help, except for the president maybe adding FEMA to the ground, and also getting the National Guard and other forms of services to help out victims, and even to prevent any major damages and to further loss of life. So to be honest, I'm glad that Trump has been doing this so well. But I cannot believe how they say that Donald Trump lacks empathy. It's just, he visited this Saturday back in Texas, and he was looking at he was just personally there with the victims of Hurricane Harvey. He was there. How could you not see any of that empathy right there? It's just, how? Did you have any do you guys have any empathy whatsoever? I don't think so. I mean, there was this one political cartoon where you basically made fun of the victims of Hurricane Harvey, thinking that the coat making them look like rednecks and other hillbillies or something. It's not funny. It's demeaning. Okay, these guys have been through a lot, and I'm like them. I consider what has been going on to be a godsend. That's exactly what I consider. So far, services have been going well, and I could not expect any less. If there was a flaw that has been going on, it should be what happened in Houston with no evacuations whatsoever. But that was not Donald Trump's fault. That was the mayor of Houston's fault. He did not order evacuations, and that's basically it. Congratulations! You basically fucked that up. On the other hand, President Donald Trump has been doing fine, and so has Texas Governor George Abbott. They've both been doing fine as a result of this disaster. Speaking of more on this disaster, there's been another hurricane development. Hurricane Irma. It's said that it may likely strike the East Coast next weekend. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. In fact, the same news article here. Let me see here. This one article from the Washington Post said Hurricane Irma could strike U.S. East Coast by next weekend, or it could curve out of sea. So it could be that this is just an ocean sort of thing. I don't know. I hope not, because to have two hurricanes hit and another rescue operation going on specifically in Texas and Louisiana, this would not be very good. It would definitely be a major blow. And I mean, like, it would just, the fact that there are two operations of disaster areas we have to deal with, it would definitely complicate things further. I mean, it could, take it back. It could complicate things further. Maybe it won't, and it will seem like everything will still be going fine, and that FEMA will just be right there when the disaster hits to provide any relief and support. Just saying, but I'm sorry, I've continued on with this topic of the hurricane for far too long. To continue, there is Donald Trump back in I think it was Tuesday. No, take that back. It was Wednesday. On Tuesday, he first went to Texas for Hurricane Harvey. On Wednesday, he talked about his priority is now shifting from Obamacare to tax reform. Now, for any people who are listening, I do not believe Obamacare is completely out. In fact, I think he's still trying to work on it. I mean, why the heck do you think he's going after Mitch McConnell, who said that he would get this done, and yet later retracted his statement and said that the president should expect things to go slow? So right now, that's going to be his main priority. Hopefully, that would get all the Republicans in the Senate and the House of Representatives to be on his side. In fact, he actually said in his address to make it a call for Congress, and I think he bashed Republican Senator Susan Collins, I think it was, basically on not supporting like Obamacare, and may look like that she might not support this tax reform in the future if it were voted. So he actually called on the citizens of the state of Missouri that if she doesn't do this, she should be voted out. Big, definitely very big news. In fact, it's going to put pressure on a lot of Congress. I don't know about what the Democrats are going to say about this. My odds are that a super majority of the Democrats will just say no to this bill. But I don't know. I'm not sure if it would even matter, considering that the Democrats neither control the House nor the Senate. But it could it could end up like what happened to Obamacare, where there was a narrow defeat in the Senate, despite the fact that the Republicans have been pushing for this. I mean, for right now, the tax reform, we don't really have a specific detailed instruction on what it will look like. But from what I can tell, Donald Trump wants to simplify the tax code. In fact, I think there was like 600 pages or something within that tax code, and he wants that to be limited to only 3 pages. I could be wrong. I think I may have mixed it up, but that's from what I know. Now, to continue on, there is the concern with Russia, and I hate the fact that I'm going back to this stupid theory about Russian collusion within a Trump campaign. Oh my god. There's been some claims that there has been a deal made by one of the top officials in the Kremlin where Trump wanted to build like a freaking tower there or something, and this was back in early 2016 in January, and it's really annoying. I'm sorry, it's just I've heard this story for like 2 years, and nothing has really been going on. To be fair, this while this did actually happen, while this actually was talk within the Trump Tower and with Russia, it was mainly about business, basically in order to spread the company into the Russian Federation. That was about it. However, from what I can tell, and I think from what Jared Kushner said, the business deal didn't really go anywhere, so it was immediately dropped, and it was just let go. I've said this before, and I will say it again. I could be wrong, which is why I believe we should keep an open mind, especially about the Russian investigation. I know I hate talking about the Russian investigation, but this is an important matter. If there's anything that may show otherwise, I will love to hear about it. I am all ears. Now, finally, with 2 other points, I just learned from, I think it was yesterday, that the gross domestic product, which is basically a measurement of how our economy is doing, how it's growing, has reached 3% GDP. In fact, I have my I have my economist right here, and the last issue actually said that it was 2.7% GDP, and that was like, okay, wait, it wasn't I didn't see it yesterday. It was maybe like on Friday before this issue came out. It usually comes out on Saturday, but I saw on the internet after hearing from Fox News that the GDP has risen to 3%, and I made sure that this was confirmed, and I saw from the Washington Post and a few others that this is correct. There is actually a 3% GDP growth. Was one of the major campaign promises of Donald Trump that he was trying to do in order to help get the economy growing and booming again, and even compete better against the likes of maybe China or even Europe. And he's so far been doing me good in that regard. In fact, although his promise stated that he was trying to get to 4% GDP, the fact that this went to 3% GDP is a major accomplishment. If he can get it to 3% GDP within 8 months, what about in the next 8 months? Will it get to 4 or 5? I mean, that would be a very big issue. In fact, what? How about I try to confirm from The Economist right now? Okay, industrial production, consumer prices. Right. Gross domestic product by quarter, 3.0%. That's exactly what it says right here. I'm not sure if you can see it because it's kind of blurry on the screen here, but I'm trying. Finally, and I'm not gonna talk too much about this final issue, but basically, Trump is planning to end DACA, which is basically for the Dreamer kids who came into the United States illegally and are on work permits and stuff. So he's thinking about trying to get that off, and apparently the Dreamers do not like that. Some people do, especially Trump supporters, because this was a major part of his campaign promise in order to end DACA. But from like he said before, like within 2 months of his presidency, he said that DACA is a very important issue, and it's a very sensitive issue, and he's right about that. It's definitely a very sensitive issue concerning, especially when it's concerning about children. I know they came in here illegally. I'm not disputing that, but again, it's definitely a major issue on basically both sides. What do I support the decision for Trump to possibly remove DACA? Absolutely. I hope that he does announce that. So far, I haven't heard anything about it, but I will let you know. And yeah, well, this is so far the rest of the video. I will talk about two more important things, basically North Korea and Antifa, in my next two videos. This is the Arc of Truth. My name is Noah Meehan. Bye.
Has come today.